You are live now.
We should be live in a minute. Okay, we are live and good to go. Let me just refresh my screen. Yep. Yeah, we are live. Awesome. So everyone, welcome back to another episode of Coffee Chat at Alchemy. And for this episode, I have a very special guest. And let me tell you guys this, that when I first pitched the idea of Coffee Chat to Vito and Albert, I mentioned them, we need to have Francesco on one of the episodes. And he's finally here. Uh, and guys, I don't think I know any other content creator who pushes out content at the rate Francesco does. This guy is a machine. I don't know how you do it, Francesco.
Hi, Hans. Thank you so much for your kind words. In my mind, I want to make the double, the triple of what I do. So thank you so much for saying this, because you are not the first person who is saying this. So the problem are not the ideas. I have so many ideas. We do many things. I really enjoyed making the Alchemy live streams. Hi, everyone. And yes, Ansha, I think the secret is that I really love what I'm doing. For me, it has been very hard to start creating content, but I think that now I'm I'm doing many of them because I like it. Otherwise, I would not do as much. Even if now I am a developer advocate, I keep doing stuff, live streams during the weekends, 12-hour live streams once a month. Hi, everyone, by the way. I see good faces here. Tobiloba, Rosho, Abhishek Gupta. So, yes, thank you so much for inviting me, of course. Let's get started.
Awesome. Yeah, of course, man. So, obviously, we all know Francesco from his 12-hour live streams, his content on YouTube, his Twitter threads, which are amazing, by the way. And recently, he hosted a Twitter space on Lens Protocol for content creators, which is amazing, by the way. You guys should definitely go check that out. So, Francesco, tell us a little about yourself, how you got started in tech.
Nice. This is usually the question that I make. So getting this as a guest is amazing. So I'll try to make a short version because I'll be 40 this year, and I started with a Commodore 64. So let's do fast forward. So my first computer, it was a Commodore 64, the famous Commodore 64. Then I think I've been one of the first people in Italy to have an internet connection. I remember when I was 12, I was the only person in my class who had an internet connection. And trying to explain what is an internet connection to someone who still doesn't have is not that easy. So it's super complicated. So people, like they are my friends, Then in high school, I was one of the two nerds of the school. So I remember that I took C course, not C++, but C course when I was 15. And I did that to impress a girl. Of course, it didn't work, but at least this is, let's say, my first hands-on course. I mean, something. The truth is that I'm professionally in tech just for 7 years, because for all my life I've been a volleyball coach. So I was in sports. For me, it was scary to just sit on a chair so many hours. So, and honestly, if I have to be really honest, coding for me, it was super boring. So it's like, okay, coding is super boring. I always loved math. As a context, both of my parents are teachers. My mom is a math teacher, and my father is a gym teacher. So we got some from both of them. But so I signed up for the university when I was like 22, 24. But I didn't like programming, so I decided to pursue a computer science degree just because of math, algorithms, physics. So that was the idea. And then I don't know. At some point, I decided that I wanted to step into tech. This is the intro.
And we are so glad that you did. I can't tell you how much of your content, especially your Twitter threads, helped me understand like some of the very basic concepts in Web3. But yeah, we are so glad that you stepped into tech. Um, so I think my first sort of interaction with you online was when you first came to Web3 Conference India last year. Um, I could obviously couldn't be there, but I saw all the Twitter posts and everything. And I remember you spoke about how you went from coding in a small dark room to speaking up on a stage. Um, but other than that, you also did a video with CS Dojo on introverted devs. So what's the story behind it? Like,
Nice. So the story is this. So I always been an introvert in my life, but this didn't stop me to have friends. It's just a way of. It was just my nature. For me, the real blocker it was doing a live stream. What we are doing now. If you asked me 5 years ago for $10,000 to do a live stream like that, I'd say no, it's too much for me because it was so scared. I was really scared to have like this, like putting you in front of the camera. I don't know. It was scared AF. So this was where I was scared. I was scared of like the recording part, the video part, not really meeting people in person. It was all the online thing. And so basically when I started like the think of the dark room, of course, is to go a bit emotional, but it's true. Of course, someone asked it like, Francesco, didn't you have light in the house? But no, the truth, there is something true in that, because when I need focus, I really turn off the lights, turn off the music. I tend to be distracted a lot by things. I don't, as you can see, I don't have anything of my walls, because that will distract me a lot. So I try to don't have as less distractions as possible. And when I decided, so I was working in a gym, I was a volleyball instructor. So at some point I decided, okay, let's start coding. If you want, I can be a little bit longer. And the truth is that I did an exam at the university, and the professor told me, like, Francesco, I passed the exam, but he said, Francesco, you will never be a developer. So when someone tells me that I can't do something, it's over. So I remember that I came back home and I said, no, now I just needed some more exams left. And I said, no, now I want to become a developer. So I had like this conscience of like wanted to step into tech for real. I was 32, by the way, not that as young, we can say. And so the first step, it was to quit the job as a coach. It was super hard. There were people crying, of course, because like you create a sort of like connection with your players. So it was not an easy, one of the hardest decisions of my life, and also one of the best ones. And then, yes, I decided to code, and I started by literally Googling, like, how can I become a developer? How can I can learn to code? Because many people tell you don't need a computer science degree to be a developer. It's true, because in computer science, they don't teach you how to code for real. So if you are, at least I talk about Italy and my situation, my university, usually it's more about theory. So even if you are pursuing a computer science degree, you still have to learn how to code as a self-taught developer. And so I started by coding in something that probably is one of the hardest way to get into tech. I'll never recommend this, but it was with game development. So C#, Unity 3D, because it was engaging. I needed something engaging. I also always be like video gamer, and so this is why I say from a dark room, because I was really learning in private, just buying Udemy courses, watching YouTube videos all day long. But this lasted for like 4 months. Like I'm not saying like coding 30 minutes a day. It was really my occupation. There was no Twitter, there was no YouTube, there was not any social media presence. It was just me coding, and this is also how I learned Docker, how I learned how to build the API. I started with Java and then other technologies. So I had to make this hard switch, because otherwise it would have been just a hobby. Like, okay, I make a website for a hobby, but I really needed like a hard switch. This has been one of my first hard switches. And then the professor of the university, once he sent me an email, I still have that email, and he said like, I never had a job in tech. He said like, Francesco, would you like to work for the European Space Agency? I replied to that email and said, okay, so this is a joke. Tell me like, okay, because this was the professor of my thesis. I said, okay, so this was a good joke. He said, no, for real. There is a chance. I said, okay. It was, when it's like something too high, you don't even have expectations. Like, we want to try, I don't know, do an audition for this film that could win an Oscar. Say, okay, let's try. It's so high that I wasn't even stressed on the interview because it's so high to say, okay, this is like, okay, I'll get a good trip. And the truth is that 3 days after I was working there. So I got an offer the same day. And this is how I break into tech. It was 2017. So this was how I stepped into tech. I'm talking too much, Ansh.
No, of course, please go on. But this is amazing. Like, you went from a sports coach to working in the European Space Agency. Tell me that's not the most badass story I've ever heard, proving your professors wrong.
Yes, but also I experienced basically what now I know that it's called imposter syndrome, because think like some months ago, some years ago, 2 years ago, I was just teaching in a gym, and now I'm sitting in a room. I never worked in an office in my whole life before. So, but not because I was working remotely. I was just working for me, the normal thinking, okay, work is staying in a place when there are some balls bouncing, sound of people screaming and clapping. So for me, I remember that when I switched in like sitting and people clicking on the keyboard, I said, okay, what's going on here? And I remember that I was going, I couldn't sit for more than 30 minutes. And I kept going to the toilet every 30 minutes. People thought that I was on drugs, or I was addicted, or I had some problems with my going to the toilet. The truth is that I couldn't sit for more than 30 minutes. And this is also correlated to the fact of becoming a content creator and being active on social media, is the fact that as I said, I've always been a teacher for all my life. I live in a family of teacher. My grandmother has been one of the first principals in a school, like working as a woman. And
Wow.
my parents always they were always talking about school 24/7, because they were like when we had like so basically teaching is my life. I also in my sometimes also during the weekends I was also teaching math, chemistry, and physics, like to high school people and also to university. Not many people know this, but I always had this I don't know, some teaching DNA. I love teaching. So when I became a developer, for a while I said, okay, so I will never be a teacher again, because you don't need to be a teacher if you want to be a developer. You can just code. You code your full stack application. Maybe you explain something to your colleagues, but it's done. But it was really not enough to me. So I was explaining things to my colleagues, but it was not the same as like teaching to 20 people. So when in 2020, I started using social media and I created my first article in February 2020, I said, okay, even if I'm scared to put myself in front of the camera, it was February 2020, maybe I can use this to teach people, because now it's easy. People say now, Francesco, you are used to camera, you create a lot of content. Now it's easy. But at the beginning, it's not, because there is nothing. There is just your
That's true.
empty blog, empty to social media. Everything is empty. You have to fill it with your passion, with your work. And this is probably also why I started creating content. I'm not like I started creating content in February 2020, so not so much, but I've been kind of active, we can say, Ash.
Yes, of course, dude. But yeah, I totally relate to the introvert thing. I obviously wasn't very social before the COVID lockdown and stuff, but like I think the lockdowns presented me with an opportunity to put myself out there on social media, interact with people, um, tell what I know and learn what I don't know. Uh, but yeah, it's been an amazing journey for you, Francesco. Obviously.
Yes.
So so like, what suggestions would you give to an introvert who's just starting to, he wants to put himself out there on social media?
Yes, absolutely. So I talked so much that I forgot the question because you asked about the CS Dojo video. So to be honest, that's not just on the YK YouTube channel, but that's a talk that I made in Berlin in front of 500 people, and that's like basically the webinar with the same slides. So I've also
Understood.
this on my YouTube channel. So I have the recording of the whole event. It's called Introverted Developers on Social Media. Also, it's edited and everything. So, to be honest, I don't want to write for now a book on like how you can being an introverted developer on social media. For me, this is just that's something that I like to do. I am more a developer. That's my niche. That's my job. So I remember that I was walking. Usually I walk a lot, so it's probably something happens while I'm walking. So I started making interviews on my YouTube channel. It was the 18 of October 2020. By the way, we are close to 200 episodes now. We are at 195 episodes. So I remember that one of my friends, he sent me a DM and he said, Francesco, you are such an inspiration because you were an introvert and look at you now. So I remember that this DM made me think like for 1 hour. So like, wow, like okay, so I was an introvert. Now I am something else. I know I changed. It's not more Francesco. It's more something else. And that's like a sort of Pokemon evolution. So I said, okay, did I really change, or it's just me approaching things in a different way? And that day, I started talking about introversion because I think that I got the answer. The answer is that the best way to deal with introversion, which I've been fighting, we can say, for 30 years, is to embrace it. Not treat many people, they use introversion with a negative, as a negative term. It's not. It's just a nature. So it's like being tall or short. It's just how we are. It's just like how I am. I will never stop being an introvert, but I'm a trained introvert. So now I can make this live stream for hours. But this did the fact of using your energy to do this, to make a talk, it's not something that I can change because that's the nature. And this is the key part, because once you embrace, you embrace the fact that you are short. So if you embrace that, everything becomes easier because you can laugh about that. You can inspire maybe people will have the same problems. And this is what I felt. So you said, what would you recommend as an introvert? So introverts have many good skills, like being stubborn, being focused on what they want to do, but they have some weaknesses. So it's like in sport. You have strength and weaknesses, like you are good in defense or bad in attack, something like that. So what can really unlock the power of introversion is to go step by step. Because introverts, they tend to analyze, think what is the situation. Sometimes they most of most of the times they're also overthinker, because before starting doing something, they think and think and think and think. I've been thinking 10 years to start my YouTube channel. So now I'm active, but I've been thinking for a while. So that's a weakness, because you can get stuck. You can be afraid to start. Usually, but I've interviewed many people on my YouTube channel. The most stubborn and successful ones are all introverts, because once you start, it's harder than you stop. Because especially if you get something with with a lot of effort, it's very hard. So what I would recommend is go step by step. Don't try to make like a jump, like try to go from zero to make a live stream, because you can get a shock and then you never do that again. I know many friends who do this. No. So start slowly, getting feedback from all your friends, try to get used to expose yourself. And I always say that even introverts, they get engaged, they get married, because otherwise we would be extinct. So if you really, so even if you're an introvert, if you want to do something, if we want to communicate something, you have to find a way. There are no excuses. If you really, if you are the worst introvert, or let's say like the most introvert people on the earth, but you fall in love with someone, you will probably find a way. Probably it will be a strange way to say that, but you're gonna try because you want to communicate something. And it's the same. So even if you're an introvert, but you have something to say, if you have, you don't have to make these kind of things, which I like, but you don't have. But it doesn't have to be something that blocks us. So this is my idea. And it's so, and at the end of the day, it's always like what you put on a plate. Like what is more important? Getting like the fear of judgment or expressing myself? Because for me now it's more important to express myself. I probably say a lot of wrong things. I made a live stream in Rust, and I never made a Web 7 in Rust. I may think I made many dumb things, but I don't care because now I'm improving. And I'm using live streams, for example, to stay away from social media because I cannot stay on Twitter on a Sunday, but I keep coding. So what I would recommend is to just start very small and try to do things day by day. And then all the introverted superpowers, they will help you. But you just have to find a way to get started. That's it.
That's awesome. I really loved how you said introversion is simply a nature, nothing else. And you need to take things step by step, not jump things directly. Um, so I think my next question would be, you do these 12-hour sessions, right? Obviously, you must have started with small videos and then moved on to 12-hour videos. So what's your motivation behind these 12-hour videos? You do continuous live streams. I remember your Hacktober Fest live stream, and I don't even remember how long it was.
Yes, sometimes I think one of them has been 16. But okay, so first of all, I do some preparation to them. So usually, I first of all I do them once a month, because if that would be once a week, I would probably be single in a couple of months. So I don't want to keep giving like the time to my family, also to myself. So some people suggested me to do this more often. No, I prefer to do this once a month, because once a month it's like an event, sort of event that you can decide when you do that. For example, now I'll be in Denver, so I can do that. So I'll try to find it a day. And so I already said that the main reason is because during that Sunday I can build stuff. I can focus on coding. I am a developer advocate now, and in daily dev, I don't code much. I code like 5% of my time. So I don't, because we have like 16 people, but I am the only person in charge of social media, content creation, community building, and of course, all the other people are helping. But like I am the only one making videos for now on daily dev, except for TikTok. I have one person who is helping me. But so I'm very they need more content creation. For me, it's okay because there are people who really struggle. They really want to code even if they are developer advocates. I'm not a pure coder. Like as I said, in my life, I did something else. So I don't miss coding, being paid to code. I can code during the weekend. It's okay. So one reason is that I want to make practice in coding. I want to get my hands dirty. Another reason is that to increase the awareness on my YouTube channel. So I get like 100 subscribers every day, and I also get some. It's not about the donations, but it's like about people getting interested in what I do, and this is one of the main things. And also there were so many Web3 tutorials. I'm not saying this because we're on the Alchemy YouTube channel, but I wanted to make some Web3 tutorials, but Ansh, we always say that we don't have time. We don't have time to to dedicate to this. We don't have time to make a course. We never have time. When you are young, you don't have time. When you're married, you don't have time. When you're retired, you don't have time. We never have time. If you ask a person who is going primary school, they say I'm super busy, I don't have time to do my homework, because the perception of time is very subjective. Right.
Right, of course.
So since I don't have time, I say, okay, so usually when I don't have time to do something, I do a challenge. So I challenge myself to do something. I did exactly this when I wanted to learn Web3, because I remember this. It was December 2021. I had a part-time job as a developer advocate, another part-time job as a developer advocate. So I had for a moment 2 jobs as a developer advocate, plus the content creation part, the Docker part. But I really wanted to learn Web3. So what I did, said, okay, so I made a challenge. I make 100 days of Web3. So I'll post every day for Web3. Some days ago, I made 400 days posting daily about Web3. So this is the trick. When I don't have time, I make a challenge. When I don't have time, but I want to do something, I make a challenge, and then I keep going for that. I did this exact same thing when I started making interviews. I started making these interviews on my YouTube channel. I made 10. Then I said, okay, and I had a full-time job in the European Space Agency. Okay, they said, okay, let's make 100 interviews in 100 days, because I don't have time. So for me, the challenge is a way to say, okay, I think I don't have time, but is that true? Or is it because I'm focused on something else? Because I always say this, we never have time, but if we fall in love, we have all the time in the world. Suddenly we are no more things to do. We're always free, time to send DMs, time to go and bring some flowers. We always have time. So it's really a perception. So this is why I do the long live streams.
I see. I am 21 and I already think I don't have a whole lot of time in my life. But yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'll keep challenging myself. By the way, those of you who don't know, Francesco is a Docker captain and a DevRel at daily.dev. And you mentioned you work with community building as well, and you have a community of your own, 4C community. So, what's the 4C community working towards? And like, could you talk us a little about how to build a community from the scratch?
Yes. So yes, I make many things. So let's focus on this community. So first of all, I created this community, I think, in the worst possible moment, because I was about to quit a job. So this is a tip: never start a community if you're about to quit a job or change your job. So this is the first tip: never do that. And so I started from scratch. And to be honest, at the beginning, I was very, very confident. Say, okay, I have 50,000 followers on Twitter. It will be easy to get 10,000 people on Discord. Many people will support me. The truth is that if you want to start a community from scratch, and if you are not like very famous, like, I don't know, 1 million people on YouTube or like 1 million people on Twitter, it will not be that easy. At the beginning, I didn't even understand, because usually people support you on social media, but if you try to start a community, then many people will not join that. Why? Because let's say that are also very active on social media, because they already have some communities, because a community takes a lot of time. So the first thing you should deal with that. So not your best friends probably will not be active in the community, because they don't want to spend time on your. I'm talking about Discord mainly, because experience in Discord, but it's the same if you put Slack, a Telegram channel, whatever. I use Discord because it's a tool for communities. So I think I made all the mistakes. So I think we can talk more about the mistakes on the communities. So the first thing, I think it's very important to understand the goal of the community. So what is the goal of the community? Is this the community for me to sharing my things? Is this community as a goal? I don't know. The Alchemy University Discord community is to people that want to learn Web3, or maybe I think you can say this better than me. So you need a goal. A community without a goal, even if it's the community of a very famous person, is probably not going to be successful because people can already follow you. I don't know. I'm not in the, I don't know. Many people, they don't even create a community. They don't even need that. They have maybe some fun clubs, something like that. So having a common goal, I think it's very important. And then I think it's very important to give people a reason to stay in your community rather than using the usual stuff. So why someone should spend seconds of their time saying good morning or sharing their things in your server instead of just posting on Twitter? So you should give people a reason to do that. And this, it seems simple. It's not, because many people, they want to get noticed. They want to be recognized. They want to tell people, I don't know, that they built something, that they are doing something. So the secret of the community is giving the people a reason to stay. How you do that? With the engagement inside the community, putting a lot of work, and also understanding that a community is not just you. I did this mistake because I working hard never scares me, real. But if now, I don't know, do we want to change a typo on the website? I can do this. It takes me 20 seconds. But if instead we create an issue on the open source project, we tell people, hey, there is a typo on the website, go and fix that. Then we find someone who has signed that issue. That person probably will take 1 day to do that. Then they make a PR. Then we review the PR. Then we merge the typo. Okay, so this took like 30 minutes, 1 hour. I could fix that in 20 seconds, but that's not what a community is for. A community is about making people involved in the activities. That takes way more time of you doing the things alone. But that's not the point. The point is to make people understand that a community is something empty. It's like a container. Just to make an analogy with Docker, it's a box. A community is a box. It's empty. It's what is inside and what people do inside this box that matters. When people say like, you have a Discord server, yes, I will say the community has a Discord server. The community might have a Twitter account, but the community is not the Discord. Discord is just a way everybody can create. I create 1 Discord server per day. Does it make sense? Probably not. I can create 10 accounts, Twitter accounts per day. Does it make sense? No. So we need to understand that the community is just a place, a place where a square where people can go and talk. That this is what is a community and how it should be. And there is a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah, I get that. 4C community is now 4K strong, I think. Full of content creators and developers. Congratulations to the 4C community, of course, and to you. But where do you see the 4C community? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I just want to say it's not my credit. All the credit is to all the staff members, the community managers, people who are very active there, people who are sharing memes, them. So I am just, I hate being called the leader or the boss. I'm just a person who decided to found something, but without the people, that would not make sense. It would just me, I don't know, just having a place to talk about my things. So I am very active, but I can be active in many communities. But the credits it's not to me. I just had the idea to found it. I neither did this alone. I also got help to found it. So 0 credits to me, and all the credits to the people who are helping and are believing in this. That's the most important part.
Like you said, a community is like a container. What matters is what's inside it. But where do you see the 4C community in like 5 years from now?
Yes, so we want to become probably the first content creation community on Discord. We are currently rank 8 if you type content creation on the server discovery on Discord. So we want to grow on Discord for sure. It's a good place where we can you can do many things on Discord. And also, we have the advantage. I want to say that 4C, which stands for Cool Community of Content Creators, there is no developer in the title. So it's not technically a community of developers. Now, many people are developers there for probably many reasons, because many people joined probably because I have a tech account, and all my friends also have friends who have a Twixter account. But it's focused on content creation. It's not focused on development. Now, having developers in a community is amazing because you can create a website together. You can create projects. Developers are the best community in the world. People super supportive, always keen to help each other. You'll never see something like the developers in the world as a community. So, but we are focused on helping each other during the content creation process. So synchronize activities, telling people to know how they can edit the videos, how they can handle a Twitter space. So we are really focused on the behind the scenes. We're trying to get workshops and how you can create content. So we are focused on the how. And also the idea will be that if things goes well, the community has as a target people who are good content creators, but which has not a very strong social media presence. Why? Because I think there are many people who create a great content, but they don't get the visibility they deserve. Because if I have zero followers on Twitter, 0 followers on Dev.to, and I make the best article in the world, probably it will get 10 views and even one bad comment. Why? Because having a social media presence is useful. Does it mean that my article is bad? No. You just need to amplify it a bit. And if you're not, and if you are very lucky, someone will check that article and they will share this on their social media. This is very unlikely. It's like winning a lottery. For all the rest of us, I see so many people creating amazing tutorials, amazing, especially articles or videos that don't get any any visibility. And I was one of them, so I know. If you check my first article, it got 30 views. So I'm not an exception in this. So I create this community to have a place to talk about content creation and also tell people that you are a content creator. I also think that if you create a place where people have the same goal, it's good because I don't know, like if you put all musicians in the same place, probably you will have some good music because you are creating a place where people can basically collaborate. We are very focused on the collaborations and doing things together.
That's awesome. While we're on the topic of content creation, I want to ask you, what are the keys to sort of creating good content, whether be it Twitter threads or YouTube videos or anything?
Yes. So I think the most important part is to have the right mindset. So having the mindset of the content creator. What is the mindset of the content creator? Everything can become a piece of content. Everything I learn, everything I know about, I can recycling all stuff, something that I did in the past, something that I want to learn. So it's like the painter. The painter, everything they say, oh, I can turn this into a paint because they have the mindset. And the same as the musician. Wherever they go, wherever they hear some music, maybe I can create something. So it's the same. So having the mindset of the content creator is the most important part. So trying to turn everything into content. Now, there are many types of content creators focused on videos, focused on live streams. It depends. It really depends in this case because we're saying content, it's like saying music. There are so many types of musicians in the world. Some of them, they probably if you put them in the same room, they will also fight. So,
Right.
it's very hard. So yes, having content creator mindset is important, and I think it's important to. I always say that when we create content, we should have should be a bit selfish. So we should find a reason to share content, especially if we create free content. Otherwise, it will be crazy. If I would create content just because, I don't know, just to tell people, me, Francesco, you're good, it will not be enough. After 1 month, 2 months, if you are stubborn, you will stop. So let's take the Web3 example. I started sharing content about Web3. Thank you for the threads, for the compliments, of course. But I did that because I wanted to learn it. And during this process, I wanted to share daily content. So that's the idea. If I would have done the same with CSS, probably after 3 weeks, I would have get bored. The reason is that I really wanted to learn Web3 things. I'll be in Denver in 3 weeks, but it's my expenses. Who's forcing me to go to Denver? Who's forced me to go to Ethereum New York okay, in Web3 Conf India, they invited me, but I'm going with my expenses to some events because I really like that. And also to get some food probably. So the idea is that if you really want to do something, you need some you need to get something out of the content. Even if, I don't know, you plan to release something which is paid, totally fine with that. You wanted to improve your social media presence. So say, okay, I wanted to share JavaScript tips because I want to improve my social media presence. But you need a goal. If you don't have that goal, like, for example, when you exercise, you have a goal. I don't know. I want to lose weight. I want to make, I don't know. My goal is to make, 100 push-ups. But you need a goal, because without a goal, if you do something for free, after a few weeks, you say you don't see the point. So this is very, very important to have a goal during the content creation, especially if you are on the free part. It's good to give things for free, but you should get something. It's like open source. You do this for free, but then maybe you want to be invited to some conferences, finding a job. These are like good things. I found my job as a DevRel by creating Docker content. It was one of the possibilities. It was not 100%, but creating content is probably a good idea if you want to get started with DevRel. I'm doing a series about DevRel. It's kind of new. And one of the things is content creation. So content creation can really help you to find a job, because instead of, like, I don't know, sending 100 CVs, if you create a video about a topic, this can really help even during the interview process. So this can also be probably a good idea. There are many good reasons to start creating content.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check out Francesco's series on DevRels. But so sorry to jump in here a little, but what do you think are some better tips for learning? Like, I know people, and I myself have gone through it, but if I'm learning something, right, and I am halfway through and I just lose interest, but let's say if I'm creating some piece of content, I need to get this done, then I will be sure to, like, finish it to the end, learn it to the end. So like, do you have any tips and tricks for learning better?
Yes, absolutely. So I think that to learn, one of the best things is to explain what you're doing. And this is why, for example, the live streams or making a piece of an article, it's a good way to fix things in your mind. As I said, I like math. So, for example, I like to understand things. So I tend to, like, really understand the theory. I don't like to just jump from zero to exercise or building stuff. But this is like because, I don't know, I like to understand the things first. But I don't know. I created a web server in Rust from zero, but I didn't know how to do that. I just know what a web server is, what an API is, but I didn't know much about the syntax. But during a live stream, especially if I put a timer, which is 12 hours, and say, okay, now I'm forced to try to understand this. Another example, I made the Alchemy bootcamp, the JavaScript part, and some parts are like the advanced part. For example, the one on the promises, they're not super easy to do, even if you know JavaScript, because you need to find yourself, you need to understand that there is a part when you have to basically recreate the promises from scratch. I don't know if you probably you know that. So I had like it still took me like 2 hours because it's like it was like a refresher. But this thing of creating content, doing stuff publicly, it's a great way to force. I want to say force, but in the best possible way. So I think a tip to learn is that the more shameless you are, the more you get. If you go for a run for a marathon, if you try to lift weights and there are 100 people watching at you, you are motivated to do this better because you don't want to let people to think that you are losing this. So it's the same concept applied to sport, to the learning process. If you put yourself a bit more, let's say, publicly, it's a bit awkward, maybe a lot, very awkward, but you'll be forced to learn. Your brain, it's like, say, okay, now I need to understand this because I'm here. So putting things out, I think it's the best way to learn. And there are many ways how you can do it. There are many ways how you don't have to create videos. You don't have to create a crash course. That's maybe the final goal. But usually when, like for example, this web server in Rust is now the example because I did this last Sunday. Probably doing this in private would have been different, because the great thing is that if you do things in public, maybe it's awkward, but people start helping you. Things like, for example, I don't know how to pass an environment variable in Rust. Someone helped me in the chat. That's great because they helping me. I give a shout out to them, of course, and I learn something, but it's different than just reading this from random articles. I couldn't find the solution, for example. And yes, so the more shameless you are, the more you learn. That's the idea.
Yeah, I totally love what you said. At Alchemy, we like to say the best way to learn is by teaching others, and I think that's very, very true.
Yes, I did 3 episodes of 12 hours, so 36 hours
There you
of
go.
me doing the Alchemy bootcamp. I don't know if there is someone else who made more live streams in the whole world. Not even the people at Alchemy.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
I think I still
when you
miss the part 7. One day I'll do it.
Probably soon. That's some alpha, guys. But you recently did a series on Rust, and I have to say that I haven't seen a lot of Rust content up on YouTube. So why did you go for Rust, and why should people actually care about it?
Yes, because I wanted to be called a cool kid. No, I'm joking. So no. Okay, so there are many reasons. The first reason above all is that all the languages that I've always learned, so C++, C, Java, Python, JavaScript, C#, I've learned some of them at university, some of them alone. But all the languages, I started learning them in private. So the first course, it was something in private. There was some professor. So I wanted to try, okay, let's see if I start. Of course, I have some knowledge now in programming languages, so I can understand Rust more easily. Like it's not my first language. But I wanted to say, okay, so let's see if I do this totally in public, how much time I save. Because usually when you do things in public, you save a lot of time. It has been true because my to help, before doing this live stream in Rust, I did 10 live streams by 30, 40 minutes. This is basically 6 hours. And it seems a lot, but 6 hours, it's not even an afternoon. If you want to start learning JavaScript, you can lose like 100, 200 hours before even to understand the promises. So I think I saved a lot of time because I did this for every Saturday, 30, 40 minutes. And then, boom, jumped 12 hours doing a web server, which is also something a bit advanced. So I wanted to challenge myself and say, okay, how much can I progress by doing this 100% in public? And so it worked. Another reason is that, as you probably know, Rust is used in many blockchains. So Solana, Near Protocol, and something else that I don't know. So I wanted to at least understand a smart contract written in Rust. I don't want to say, no, I don't know Rust. Let's ditch this. I want to be free to understand. I'm still didn't get started with that. And also, I think it's fascinating the fact that you can handle memory low level. So I want to see if that's true. Honestly, the more I code in Rust, the more I like it. It's the only thing that I would say is that it's not really beginner friendly. I would not recommend this to a person who is starting from zero, just for many reasons, because it's not so widely used. And also, I think even in the Rust programming book, they make references to other languages. So if they say, this is like in object-oriented programming, this is like in JavaScript. But if you don't know JavaScript and you read this book, you don't understand, because maybe it's a mistake, but it's I think it's better to start with at least one programming language before. It can be JavaScript, it can be Python, and then you will start Rust. This is what I would recommend now. But of course, I like that you can also do different things. For example, I used Solidity for a while, but it's just for smart contract. I still like it. But for example, now for what I want to do now, I see this as a better fit.
Right. I was actually going to ask you that are you learning Rust for Solana, making Solana videos, but I guess you answered that question.
My problem is always time, Ansh. So if it's I have a list of things that I want to do, and probably at some point I will try this. But once you understand the basic, to be honest, I like the fact that the people, at least what I read, the books that I'm currently reading, they're not focused on blockchain development, and I like it. They are not selling you Rust as you can write Solana smart contracts. You are learning Rust. It's like, I don't know, trying to sell you JavaScript because then you can create a Node.js application. It's not only that. A language is a tool. So this is why, for example, now I'm liking it more, because it gives me more freedom, we can say, and yes. So this is for now what I'm currently doing, and I'm really enjoying it. I really can't wait to do more stuff. I've also done, of course, I Dockerized, of course, the Rust web server, which has not been. I really found very few resources, for example, on how to Dockerize a Rust application. So probably I can create videos on that, and let's see. Exciting times.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have a question in the comments. This question is from Hank. He's one of our members for the Designers Guild at Alchemy University. He asks, thoughts about C++ successor, Carbon by Google. Having spent a full year on game dev, challenging myself on ridiculous amount of areas, Rust is great, but I don't think it's future-proof.
Okay, so I never used Carbon. First of all, this is a great idea. Probably I can try it, but not now, of course. Myself for ridiculous challenge. Whereas it's great. I don't think it's future-proof. I think it's especially in these times, trying to predict the future. It's kind of hard. I don't know if you try to say, like, 5 years ago what we were doing. Web3 wasn't even a thing. We were probably not be here like 5 years ago. So it's very hard to predict it. What I can say is that you are probably, Hank, the first person that I met that says this. But like, I talked with, like, I don't know, 2,000 people. So out of 2,000 people, 1,999 says that Rust is good. So this is something, because usually when you have a language which has some problems, many people complain about this. So I think there is a good experience in developers using Rust. I'm not a Rust advocate. Rust is still amazing. Okay, 2000s out of 2000s. So the idea is that it's a powerful language. In my opinion, a bit hard to learn. Some people don't agree with this. The people say it's easy. I don't agree with this because it depends. If you already are an expert in many programming languages, you can write with any language you want when you understand the syntax. Okay, but anyway, I'm still in a very early phase. And again, Rust is a language, is a tool. We can do the same when there are smart contracts. The concept is the smart contract, because the concept is the API. And then there are some caveats, some syntactic sugar, some structures that can be better or not, less lines of code, no semicolons. But a language is a language. Unless you have a millionaire SaaS, when probably it matters. But usually this is not a problem that a student have. If you are creating, I don't know, millionaire companies, and you said, okay, if you use this technology, we can save 1/3 of the money because the servers will cost us less. But this is not a problem for the students. And usually the companies, they don't care at all. I don't know. So because they are focused on making the money. So they just try to get the product out as soon as possible, because maybe the earlier you get your product out, the earlier you start getting money. So probably for them, it's not even for them, it's a problem of performances, or like do I don't know, 1/20,000 of requests instead of 15,000. This is something that, of course, when you scale, you can try to find some solutions. I know that there are some companies who are using Rust for some services. Okay, I can stay, Ash.
Awesome. So, apart from Web3, are there any other technologies that you're focusing on currently?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm trying to reduce the technologies that I'm learning, and no, I think that this is enough for now. Ash. Do you want me to start the carbon? I know. Please don't want me dead. No. There is a project that I wanted to do like 3 years ago, and now I'm trying to getting back at that, which is basically creating with different technologies, different languages, like different services, all in the same project. So this is a dream that I had for a while. So probably what I will do, for example, sorry for the shameless plug, but tomorrow I'll try to make Node.js JavaScript CRUD API. This will not take 11 hours. I hope that 1 hour will be more than enough. And then I'll probably try different technologies. So I want to build stuff or build stuff. So this is the goal and where I'm focused on. So to do this, of course, I need to refresh some knowledge with Python, of course. By the way, I just want to say, let me say just this, Ash, because many people on Twitter, they think that I hate Python. The reason is that sometimes you make this sort of jokes like JavaScript developers, Python developers. Usually I keep for the JavaScript developers, I don't know. But the truth is that I probably coded more in Python than JavaScript professionally, because when I was working for the European Space Agency, the downloaders of these data from the satellites, they were written in Python. But I don't know why. So people think that, and it's funny when people, they in the comments, when I say like something funny about Python, some people in the comments, they say, Francesco, you should try Python. It's a good language. I know. It's a joke. So probably next week, I'll create a CRUD API in Python, and people will be surprised. Oh, finally, Francesco decided to learn some Python. But no, it's funny. But this is like how social media are. Like it's a place to have a joke and have some fun. But yes, let me read. But yes, thank you so much. Yes.
That's a more alpha for your viewers. But awesome. But um, what do you think? How do you think like Web3 is sort of helping content creators? What do you think the future is for content creators who are in Web3?
Yes, so I think that Web3 is amazing for content creators. The reason is that it's not saturated how JavaScript might be. Nothing against the JavaScript, of course. I'll make a JavaScript live stream tomorrow. The thing is that if you're a content creator, if you want to stay up to date in the Web3 world, Web3 is perfect because you can create content on something new, something which is, and you can also like inform people in advance. So content creation and Web3, we do this in Italy, like they are like this. So it means that they are like friends. So it's great if you want to create content. There is always something new. I think if you start creating content, you will never end. I don't know. You can make Lens protocol integration. This is one of the on the things of the to do, or get a blockchain, learn something about that, share something, make shorts. There is even more like even more with that on other branches. So if you want to step into Web3, I highly recommend it to create content. There is more space. That in this course there is no competition. You can do. I also probably we can also make a collaboration if you want.
Of
So
course.
that's
Yes.
that's absolutely something great to create content. Web3 and content creation, they go hand in hand. We can say so. Yes, absolutely.
By the way, guys, Francesco discussed this in more detail on his Twitter space. You guys should definitely go check it out again. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, Francesco. We had such a great time. This was actually my first interaction with you on a call. So yeah, this was definitely exciting.
You did
Any
great.
final words?
You did great.
Thank you so much. Not
You
as
did
good as
great.
you, but
No. You should see my first interview. It was awful. So yes. So my final thoughts, I will say that I am a fan of Alchemy. Not saying this because of it or because of ancient. Sorry, but this is like a honest thought. I think it's a great way to learn and understand Web3. They also putting out these amazing tutorials, series of tutorials. I highly recommend to do them. The solidity part is very well written. It's probably the best solidity tutorial that I ever did. It was very clear to me, very clean to me. So they also have an amazing community. So this is, I think that it's a great way to have a community if you want to start. We are here, so we're focused more on the Web3 part. I think joining a community, it's a great way to start. And the last message that I would like to give is that I'm very focused on the educational part. Some people think that the Web3 is crypto, like, oh, crypto is down, so now Web3 is dead. No, it's probably we have less hype. I'm almost happy that happened. Of course, sorry if you lost some money. I lost some small amounts. But the idea is to build and to understand how things work. Blockchain is a technology, is not money. They have something which is related, of course. So usually, if the crypto market is going well, there is more interest into blockchain. So will be more Web3 projects. This doesn't mean that if the hype goes down, the builders are going to stop. So if you are one of those people, just stay strong because this is for sure a successful technology. 100. It's like saying cloud. The cloud is not a scam. The cloud is a technology. The containerization is not a scam. It's a technology, and the same as internet. So blockchain is a technology that in the future it will be integrated in many services. So it's probably worth learning. This is my honest thought. Good luck, everyone, and don't forget to leave a like on this video.
of course, do check out Francesco on his YouTube and Twitter. Anywhere else, Francesco, where people can find you?
I made your life easy. So francescociulla.com. There is also here. It's here. So I made your life easy. you know what to do. Click there, and then you can follow me. I can
Awesome.
do more than this.
Once again, thank you so much for being here, Francesco. Do check him out, guys. And to our viewers, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much. See ya.